Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. How can we not? I mean, how can we not come back live, right? I mean, when ETH is rallying, the entire market is up. This is the time to have a party, pull up a chair, enjoy the show. Let's see how high this thing can take us. So, how is everyone doing? I imagine everyone is doing quite well. All right, I'm just going to post this in a couple different places and then we will dive in. All right, guys. Here we are, right? Here we are. This is why we're here, right? This is why we're here. We're here for these moves, and yeah, and we'll see how high it can take us. I mean, as long as Bitcoin can continue to go sideways, which it really hasn't done yet, to be completely honest. It hasn't really started moving sideways. If we start printing weekly candles going sideways, this rally, this could theoretically just be the beginning, right? I know that might sound crazy, but it could just theoretically be the beginning if in fact Bitcoin just chills out at 18.7, just shy of 19K. It could be the beginning for a lot of altcoin rallies. We are well above the 20-week moving average. This is a prerequisite for altcoins to move, right? We need to be well above the 20-week. Bitcoin needs to be bullish. Bitcoin volatility needs to be low. Um, Bitcoin volatility over the last couple days has been low, but we know over the weekly time frame it is not. So we'll see. We'll see if Bitcoin levels off here and chills out, then I think it's going to be a quite a show for altcoins. Um, so with Ether, we said that this is the path, so to speak, right, of least resistance, to just simply follow what Bitcoin did, the path of least resistance, up, sideways, like this, and then holding it as support and then going up, and then the same thing with Ethereum, or sorry, the same thing with Ethereum, wanting to see that exact same move, right? But it hadn't really had this candle yet. And earlier today, we were only starting this candle, and now we're basically smack dab in the middle of it. Um, so now, if we take a look at, again, one of the moves we did earlier was, well, theoretically, if we have the similar pattern, and Bitcoin rallied from the top of this local top to where it currently is, it was around 60%. If Ethereum were to rally from its prior local top to wherever it's heading, at 60%, it would take it to almost $700, right? I mean, if it rallied the same amount from that point, we're talking a $700 ether, if you can believe that. The crazy thing, and I say this like with the utmost care, right? The crazy thing is that we expect more from ether, right? I mean, if we wanted 50% from here, we would just be all in on Bitcoin. So what I would hope to see would actually be a continued rally, even higher, outperforming Bitcoin, essentially, right? The idea would be to outperform Bitcoin, and we paid for that by experiencing a lot more volatility in this region than Bitcoin did. So again, there's no free lunch. If you yield the higher return, you probably paid for it with higher risk, more volatility, etc. So we had a stream earlier today where we talked a lot about a lot of the different altcoins, um, and uh, we went through them. Some of the ones we went through, let's see, we went through. I mean, I know we went through Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, ADA, XRP, Litecoin, and VeChain, I believe. And we also looked at Polkadot, the Uniswap governance token, and we looked at Tezos, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe those are the main coins we looked at on stream earlier. So as I said before, right, this move it could just be getting started, especially if Bitcoin holds this level. It seems to be doing a decent job of it the last couple days. If it holds this level, we could definitely see a turnaround point. And also with the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio, recognizing that this, as we have shown all along, this is our theoretical, like our reaccumulation zone, right? And I anticipate us spending a decent amount of time in this zone for the market cycle. And I drew this box when we were down here. If you guys remember, this box we drew down here, and I think that basically between 0.027, 0.028, all the way up to 0.042, there's a good chance we're going to spend a decent amount of time in that range. This market cycle, I would consider this our reaccumulation range, right? And again, this is not thinking of it in terms of USD. It's thinking of it in terms of its Bitcoin valuation. I don't care. We don't care about what it's doing in USD. We do, but ultimately we need it to perform well against Bitcoin. And this move seems amazing, right? I mean, a move for Ethereum to go up to 550 from a low this year of less than $100 is remarkable, right? This is remarkable, and it justifies our reasoning for being so focused on the cryptocurrency asset class, right? As I've said many times, the reason I'm focusing the channel on crypto right now is because it has the most attractive risk-adjusted returns right now, over basically anything else in terms of like as an asset class as a whole. So, no, this is not pre-recorded. I'm doing this live, so whoever's saying this is pre-recorded, it's not pre-recorded. Sorry. I'm just reading through some of the comments here. Yeah, so obviously there's a lot of XRP comments. As I said earlier, right? I think this is people front running the move that happened last time when when Bitcoin got to its prior all-time high. In the stream earlier today, I said, you know what? I think XRP was at like 42 cents or 43. I don't remember exactly what it is. I don't even know what it is now, to be honest. Let me check. If I reload it. So it's currently at 48 cents. So earlier what we said essentially was just, I can understand the risk at this point in terms of buying XRP. As I've said before, for many years, I don't think it was merited, basically because of how far Bitcoin was from the prior all-time high. Now that we're knocking on the door, I can understand why people want to take the risk, and it could pay off very, very well for them, right? Obviously, there's a risk still being taken, but it could pay off very well. And I mean, I say this somewhat in a kidding manner, and I'm sure, and to some degree, maybe they deserve their day in the sun. But one of the things I wanted to to talk about again with XRP was this is if you're not familiar with it, this is what seeing your portfolio go up feels like. So welcome to the show. I say this somewhat kidding, but in all seriousness, right? Even with this amazing pump, it's still, I mean, as measured from the beginning of January, it's basically at break even against Bitcoin, right? At break even against Bitcoin, even with this massive candle. Ethereum since January is up 60%. Okay, so there's a huge difference here so far. Now, I contend that XRP knows how to print some candles. Like we will say that, right? XRP knows how to print candles. And you won't see much of anything for a long time. You'll just see a slow bleed. And then every once in a while, you get something that looks like this. But sometimes they're not quite as spectacular. So again, as I said before, buying down here in this region could be the local low, right? There's a good chance this is as low as we go. The reason why I'm saying that now, and I've been saying it the last couple of days, is because of Bitcoin's proximity to the prior all-time high, and that could give XRP that confidence it needs to start moving up. But at the same time, we recognize that Bitcoin is still not above its prior all-time high, and if there were a correction, which maybe there won't be in the short term, maybe there will be. If there were a correction, I mean, this would likely be short-lived. We've seen stuff like this before, right? I mean, September of 2018 was bear market territory, right? I mean, it was complete bear market territory. It did not stop XRP from pumping against Bitcoin 150% at the top or 90% at the top of the candle. So it's not like these candles are completely unheard of, but you're essentially erasing a major bleed that has been going on for years, and you're only at the very beginning of it. Because as measured from the wick in 2018, XRP is still down 88.68% against Bitcoin. Almost 89% down against Bitcoin since 2018. So that's quite substantial. So I think it's fine for the if you hold XRP, I'm happy for you, right? I'm happy for you that you're finally seeing some type of positive move in your direction, and we'll follow it, right? I mean, I think that now that if Bitcoin can sustain this level, and altcoins start taking off, then we'll surely follow it and see what it has in store for the market, because it's hard to really know at this point if it's going to look something like this, or if it's going to look something more like one of these smaller moves and then continuing down. So we'll follow it for sure. And the reason why we haven't followed it up until this point, even at these prior moves that we had these other nice candles that took us up, I just said, you know what, let's talk about it later when Bitcoin gets closer to the prior all-time high. Here we are. So we'll start to follow it a little bit more and see how high it can take, how high it can go. But I think Ethereum, right, is doing very well. And as measured from the bottom in March, it is up 523%. And as measured from the bottom of the candle, it is up 358%. And there's really no telling how high it can go. And as I said before, right, this is our Ethereum Bitcoin valuation. And historically speaking, remember, these momentum shifts in the market, they take time. Oh, by the way, remember to subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. So let's make sure you do that if you're new here. But remember, these shifts in the market take time. We all want them to just happen like on a dime, and for that to be the cue for an amazing move that goes up 10x overnight. But we also recognize that in general, this is likely just not to happen, right? It's just likely not to happen, because what we're looking at, these momentum shifts of Ethereum Bitcoin, these are weekly candles. These are weekly candles, and the shift in the market, it can take a little bit of time, and you can see that it's possible that this is our shift. That might be the shift that it takes, because as we've shown before, the major move, the main time, historically speaking, to accumulate Ethereum is, if you want to look at it more on a granulated time scale, Q4, more specifically December. So historically speaking, Ethereum has been a good buy with Bitcoin in December, and we're only a week away. I mean, a week and a half away, and so even if we swing back, right? I mean, this still could theoretically be a good buy in December in a week or two, and so then we also recognize that out of the 5 years that Ethereum has pumped against Bitcoin at this time of the year, right at the end of the year going into the first quarter, it's either happened the first couple of weeks of January is what it did 2 times, And then there was a couple other times where the move started in December, where the major moves started in December. And you can just see that here, right? This move started January 11th. This move started January 2nd. So the first two were January 11th, January 2nd. This one started mid-December. So December 11th is when this move started. This one started mid-December, and then this one started January 6th. So they've all five of them have had at least 50 to 60% returns against Bitcoin. Some of them have gone up to 1700, 1800% against Bitcoin. This is an example of going up 1600, 1700%. Do we expect this type of move? No. We are more pragmatic than that. Do we expect this type of move of 600%? No. Let's be a little bit realistic. We expect the volatility to be a little bit lower this cycle, if you can believe it. So, can we expect something like this? Just to give you an idea, to kind of put it in perspective, so to speak. Okay, let's put it in perspective. The lowest, historically speaking, that Ethereum has pumped against Bitcoin was in 2020 and in going into 2019. And during these moves, they pumped around 55%. Okay, so if we were to assume that we would get at least a 55% pump against Bitcoin, which is a big assumption, right? And there's no guarantee that this would happen. But if we were to assume that we got at least a 55% pump of Ethereum against Bitcoin from the bottom, and we should probably measure it as from the bottom and go up 55%, that would put us right here. So it would put us at a valuation of 0.041, okay? And a valuation of 0.041, let me just give you guys the exact number, because this could, it's important. And 0.041 times, let's call it 18.6. That puts Ethereum, if it were to repeat this, it would put Ethereum at 762. And of course, we come on stream and there she goes. Let's look at 15-minute candles here. I've said many times, right, that me coming on stream is a great signal, right? It's a great signal for local tops, right? A great signal for local tops every time I come on stream. So we'll see. Well, maybe it'll be interesting. Maybe we'll see what happens here in the short term. What will be interesting though is if we do have a correction at this point. It would be interesting. And I'm not saying we will. I don't think this is much of a move at all. 18.5 is still business as usual, of course. But if we were to have a correction, it would be interesting to see what would happen to XRP, right? What would happen to XRP against Bitcoin? Because as I've said, for me personally, I would prefer to wait until Bitcoin is at its prior all-time high. Again, you guys can go do whatever, of course, and hopefully you guys make a lot of money if you've already been accumulating it. But if there is a correction in Bitcoin, and we kind of put the party on hold for a little bit, then XRP is most likely coming down. So I just want to warn people about that. XRP most likely will come down in that situation. But at the end of the day, Ethereum is still looking pretty good. As I've said before, right, every time I come on live stream, I would say like 95% of the time it seems to be a good signal. Maybe you should get like an alert to your phone, like Ben's doing a live stream. Markets are about to go back down a little bit. And as I've said before, right, I'm doing everyone a favor. I'm letting you continue to accumulate at lower levels whenever I do a live stream. And then when we go off the live stream, it rallies, right? Because earlier it was rallying through here. We did a live stream and it stopped. Started rallying again. We did a live stream and it stopped. So just something that's interesting to look out for. But yeah, we'll see. We'll keep an eye on Bitcoin. Remember, keep an eye on Bitcoin because 18.5 is still very much okay. And I would argue that honestly, Bitcoin could drop 10%, 20%. And while other coins would likely bleed in the short term, they could actually still remain bullish. Okay, they could still remain bullish. Like for instance, if Bitcoin were to drop, there's a good chance that Ethereum would still very much hold the its bull market support band, which by the way now is at 381 or so. So it's around 381. So we're well above that. But I just want people to recognize, you know, the some of the risks with trying to front run a move. Here's the XRP Bitcoin move. So here you can see. Let's see how far down it came in that little move. Yeah. So it came down 13% against Bitcoin in a very short period of time, actually, because this is a 15-minute chart. So this was only an hour. So it looks like it dropped 15%. I mean, maybe am I not reading this correctly? 14% against Bitcoin in like an hour or so. So I'm just reading the comments. Just want to see what people are saying. So as I said, right, I'm not buying XRP right now. But I wish you guys a good journey if it works out, right? I'll help you. I mean, I'll be here. I'll be here to watch it and to give you my thoughts on it. But I'm not going to take part in it right now. So let's see if we can get Ethereum back to 560 during the stream. Sometimes we have had some rallies on stream. It just doesn't happen very often. So what else do you guys what do you guys want to talk about? Because I don't necessarily need to repeat everything from earlier. But yeah, it's a good question. What are my kids gonna say if XRP is rallying as opposed, because normally they cry whenever I mention it. Hey, I'm not saying I'm not saying anything about the actual merits of XRP. I'm just looking at it from the perspective of what does it tend to do at various phases, and looking at it from the perspective of, okay, well, does it ever make sense to purchase it? And I would say 99.9% of the time the answer is no. But every once in a while it might merit it. But that was a really nasty drop for XRP. It's probably still, yeah, I mean 0.45, so it doesn't really drop that far. But let's continue on. Link is at 1518, and you can see that actually it's been holding its bull market support fairly well as well. This red line that you see is the 20-week moving average, and it's holding it as support, and recently it's rallied off of it. So certainly keep an eye on that one, because as I said before, like, Link's too risky not to hold. And while and by the way, just to put this in perspective to those who are very much pro XRP, like before you guys get too and I say this like all kidding aside, before you get too over the top for it, remember, you know, we look at these other coins and they're up. I mean, Link, which is one of the ones we follow on the channel, it's up thousands of percent against Bitcoin since 2017. So, I mean, XRP, even in this move here, I mean, it's just playing in the sandbox, right? I mean, it's not much of anything at the end of the day, right? I mean, 50% after it's down 90%, no thanks. No, and generally speaking, no thanks. And that's why. That's why I'm always very hesitant to jump into XRP. But with that said, I mean, if you have been holding it for the last 2 years or 3 years, then maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and you can start to reclaim some of those profits that you've been desperately wanting. So it looks like Ethereum's at 553. What do you guys think? Do you guys think? Do you think Ethereum is going? Do you think this is the time for it to make a move against Bitcoin? I mean, obviously it's done a little bit of something, right? It's rallied a few percentage points here and there. But do you think it's we're getting to the point where we're going to see the actual a momentum shift back in the other direction. What do you guys think? You think this is the time, or you think it's going to take a little bit longer? Looks like most people think it will. Frederick says, "Hi Ben, how do you start the conversation with new people who want to enter the space?" I think the first conversation to say is to be practical with them and say most people when they first enter the market they enter it in a bubble. They enter it during a bubble, and that's the worst time to enter it. And that if he does invest or she does invest in the short term, to not think that it has to go up forever just because it goes up for a couple weeks, and to recognize that 80 to 90% drops are always on the cards. And to also get them in the right mindset of it's more of a multi-year investment. And if you show them charts, you might actually. I put out a video recently on Bitcoin called like Bitcoin return on investment trend line or something. You might want to show them that chart because it shows like the ROI as holding for like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, and 4 years. So that way they can get in the right mindset of, okay, this isn't a 2 week investment, but if it's a more macro. I mean, it might be a 2 week investment if they're coming in at the peak of the bubble. But in terms of actually holding for the market cycle, it's more. I would say it's more of a longer term play. So just make them aware of that because so many people come into the space during a bubble and then get burned so badly. Okay. It's not 99% min here. The YouTube stats tell me that it's 95% min, not 99. None there. You should get if you sign up for the premium list, you should get a welcome email. I would check your promotions tab, and if you're not getting it, then you can reach out to me through email. Paul says, "Why do you think we're running in November and not January?" Remember the momentum shift of Ethereum against Bitcoin. It's not like it turns on always right when January gets here. It's sometimes started in December, and this is why we say don't get too cute. And you might say that it's running now, but if you look at the weekly time frame, right, this is still macro down. It hasn't actually, there's no clear evidence that it has shifted gears yet. So I would argue that this is not a run for Ethereum against Bitcoin. The run that we talk about is not Ether USD, it's Ether Bitcoin, right? It's always been Ether Bitcoin, not Ether USD. And there's no solid evidence yet that it has moved against Bitcoin, right? I mean, this is just one candle that has slightly moved up back to where we were 2 weeks ago. So it just feels different because Bitcoin is pumped so much. The someone wanted to. I don't even have the. I'll pull up the link Bitcoin chart because the when you're looking at things like Chainlink, um, it's all about recognizing that we have these bubbles that form constantly, and then trying to figure out, right, where is that local bottom every single time. And I can't promise anything, right? I don't really know what's going to happen. But in terms of a risk management strategy, you don't want to be the schmuck coming in and buying up here when it's, you know, 200% off this line, or 200% off this line here. Here it was 80% off this line. This is like a 80%, right? You don't want to be the guy coming in after it's pumped. And this is the Bitcoin valuation. And that's what's important, right? You have to distinguish between is it a good buy with USD or is it a good buy with Bitcoin? Because, if you were holding Bitcoin for the last month or two, you've seen like an 85% price appreciation of Bitcoin. And so Link has gone up as well, but Bitcoin has outperformed it. And because Bitcoin has outperformed Link, that's why it makes it a better buy with Bitcoin than USD. Because USD would be a different story. I mean, with USD, it's already at 75% or whatever of its all time high. Sorry, I'm just reading through the chat. Um, Someone says, "Would you accept if I were wrong?" I guess what are you talking about? Wrong about what? If you could elaborate. Yeah, the XRP army has in fact come out. I might have to get rid of some of these people in the chat if we're gonna start spamming. Yeah, some of the yeah. I mean, I just if you continue to just spam altcoins, it's not like I have time to like go through every single altcoin. Um, Bill Al said, yeah. So Bill, what are you saying? What are you saying I'm wrong on? I guess I don't know what you're talking about. Um, let's see. Will you sell Link at $20? Um, I mean, the stuff I do is for the premium list. Yeah, Ethereum is dropping some. I mean, it's at 540, 546, but it's not too crazy. 545. We'll see where Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin's dropping a little bit as well. It's at 18.5. Let's zoom in on a 15-minute chart and see what's going on. So I started streaming 33 minutes ago. So I started streaming right around this candle here. So naturally, the risk metric keeps changing because it's dynamic. I mean, if it never changed and we just had static prices, how would that work? If you had a static price for Bitcoin back in 2011 for that corresponded to a risk level of zero point 0.9, how would that make sense if a zero point 0.9 risk level corresponded to $3 for Bitcoin or something, right? Wouldn't make sense. Yeah, I play a lot of chess for sure. I have played poker before. Bill, I'm not really sure what you're asking. Like you're basically just saying if it doesn't go according to my what like when I accept that I'm wrong. I mean, like I don't know what you're like. If you can elaborate on what you think I'm wrong on, then I can talk about it. But you're not actually saying anything. You're just saying I'm wrong. So I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, if you think about it, I'm doing you guys a favor, right? I'm keeping the market down for a little bit longer because every time I go off stream, that's when it rallies again. Oh, is he talking about lengthening cycles? Yeah, I mean, if the cycle peak comes in 2021, yeah, I mean, I'll admit I was wrong, right? I don't have any problem admitting I was wrong. Um, but as I said before, just because Bitcoin pumps to 20K does not mean it has to go to 100K in 12 months, right? There's not an automatic. I mean, that's a very deterministic way to look at it. Just because it goes to 20K now does not mean it will hold it. By the way, it's still not at 20K yet, right? It's still not there yet. So you need to consider that it hasn't made it to 20K yet. Um, so what it would need to do is it would need to get to 20K and then actually hold it and start and continue to move on up. And I've said before, a short-term bubble can happen at any time. It can happen at any time. And we've seen these. We saw one in 2019, right? We saw a short-term bubble in 2019 that took us from 3100 to 1400 and all the way back down to 3800, and then now we're back up to 185. So I've always contended, always, that these bubbles can exist in a market cycle, right? It's natural that they can exist within a market cycle. That does not necessarily mean that Bitcoin has to go to $250,000 in 12 months. I really don't think it will. If we draw the regression bands, and we're still very much on track, and you can see we are overvalued here. So Bitcoin is overvalued. The fair value of Bitcoin right now, according to this fit, the fair value is 10,411. That's where the fair value is. You can see we are overvalued by a decent percentage. The truth. I'll go ahead and remove you from the chat if you want to troll. So goodbye. Yeah, sorry, I don't really talk about Bitcoin forks that often, right? I just don't really dive into that very frequently. Charlie says, "What do you mean by overvalue? What determines the value?" It's a good question. What it is it's a logarithmic regression fit to what I considered to be non-bubble data, which I use by looking at some of the derivatives. And so what I did was I just took what I considered to be non-bubble data, and I fit that to a logarithmic regression curve. Okay, and it's fit. The equation is 10, so it's 10 raised to the power a times the ln of x minus b. And then you have a and b are just simply the fitted coefficients of that regression fit to non-bubble data. So that's the fit that I'm talking about. The fair value that I'm talking about is that center green line that you see running through it. So right now, that center green line is approximately $10,400. So hopefully that answers your question. I just like I want people to be to be pragmatic because we put out a video what 12 hours ago or something, not even 12 hours ago, talking about like sometimes you just need to take a step back, right, and look and see kind of how far Bitcoin has come in such a short period of time. And because of that, it doesn't mean that. By the way, I mean Bitcoin could correct to 16K, and then Ethereum could still perform well against Bitcoin over the next 4 months, right? There's nothing necessarily stopping other coins from outperforming Bitcoin, even if Bitcoin corrects. I mean, they might drop in the short term, but as long as Bitcoin's well above the 20-week, I still contend they can outperform Bitcoin. Um, but you know, when you look at these moves on a linear scale, you really do get an appreciation for just how quickly Bitcoin has moved up. So just I mean, take a look at that. You can see how quickly it's moved up, and compare it even to prior bubbles. So again, I've said it many times. Um, just because Bitcoin rallies up does not mean it's sustainable. I would have a hard time, to be completely honest, seeing Bitcoin sustain this level this early because we were at 10K 2 months ago. I would have a hard time seeing it sustain this level. I would anticipate at some point a correction. The hard part is knowing when that correction will come because it might not come for another month for all we know, right? It might not. It could come in 10 minutes. I mean, maybe in 10 minutes we'll watch the stream, we'll watch Bitcoin go to 17K, right? It could come in 10 minutes, or it could come in 10 days, or it could come in 10 weeks. We don't know where the top is, but we do know for Bitcoin it is somewhat getting overheated, right? We can at least be somewhat aware that you can't say that this is normal and that this would be necessarily sustainable. And you know, please don't throw the S curve adoption at me, fundamentals, you know, blah blah blah. Like this is a bubble, right? It's a short-term bubble. Yeah, I expect Bitcoin to go much higher than 18K over the next few years. I expect it to go to six figures, but you can't. I mean, I don't feel like any experienced investor would look at something like this and say that that's just normal accumulation, right? I mean, it's just not. There's a lot of FOMO, and it can be exciting because that FOMO can take you higher than you could possibly imagine, like it already has. I mean, it's already taken us to 18.5. It could take us to 19.5. It could take us to 25K. I don't know where it's going to take us, but you can't tell me that this is a normal slow methodical move up. It's just not. These were right. I mean, these were move up and then go sideways, up, sideways, test the 20-week, hold it as support, and then we just shoot up. So just be cognizant of that and just buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy cycle, right? There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, and we'll be here every step of the way. Um, all right, M Miller. Goodbye. We can't have trolls in the chat. What is your strategy on your holdings in Ethereum and Link? Play the Bitcoin ratio. Yeah, mostly it's the Bitcoin ratio, but we do also look at the USD prices. But a lot of times, you know, we look at the ratio against Bitcoin, and also it's sometimes useful to look at Link's ratio, its valuation against Ethereum. Like I think looking at Link's valuation against, I mean here's the valuation against Bitcoin. But if you look at it against Ethereum, it's actually very bullish. So here's the valuation against Ethereum. You can see it more or less holds this bull market support line as support, but it does fall below it slightly a few times here and there. Yeah, I don't. Someone says, what are your thoughts on the stock to flow model? I don't believe. I don't think it's accurate. I think it essentially predicts like a $288,000 Bitcoin in basically by next year. And practically speaking, if you look at how like what would Bitcoin have to do to get to 288K? If you zoom out, let's just take a look. I don't know why all these things keep appearing on TradingView, these little dots around the chart. You take a look, what would Bitcoin have to do to get to a $288,000 price tag in 12 months? Let's take a look. Well, 288 is up here. Let me zoom in some here so we can actually draw it correctly. So that's 290. Okay, so that would be a $290,000 Bitcoin. All right, that right there. That's a $290,000 Bitcoin, and I believe the stock to flow model expects a $288,000 Bitcoin in like 12 months. Right? End of 2021, right? It's basically end of 2021. Let me just read the chat, make sure I'm getting it right. Smart Crypto Bot says exponential growth is hard to picture for humans. It's not exponential growth. It's logarithmic growth, right? I mean, that's what it is. It's not exponential. This is a logarithmic growth where the majority, the higher ROI was found earlier in the cycle. But as we continue on, it's logarithmic, not exponential. There's a difference. So to give you guys an idea, like of why, I mean, basically the stock to flow model, and by the way, like all models are wrong, right? Let's be clear about that, right? Even my models are going to be wrong to some degree, right? So I don't want to pretend like, that model is wrong and mine is like, like the best thing since sliced bread. All models are wrong. Any engineer, any STEM major can tell you that all models ever created are wrong to some degree, but some are useful, right? Some models are useful, and just to give you an idea, for Bitcoin to get to, to go, let's end this at end of 2021, because that's basically when they say that's when it would get to 288K. To get to 288K, it would basically just have to go straight up from here, right? I mean, like just straight up, and completely ignore any of the prior trends in ROI and return on investment rate. It would have to completely ignore all of that. I'm not saying it's impossible, right? We're not gonna say anything's impossible, but the idea that it's basically just gonna go straight up in such a short period of time, I don't think is likely going to happen. Now, I'm sure many of you guys are huge proponents of that model, and that's fine, right? I mean, if Bitcoin goes to 288K next year, we're all going to be rich anyways. I don't think we're going to quabble too much over that, but I just want people to be a little bit more pragmatic and say, if it doesn't go to six figures next year, does that mean the party's over? No, it does not. It could just mean we're getting started. And as we showed before, right? We'll do the measure moves from bottom to top. It's 308 days. Bottom to top is 742 days. Bottom to top is 1,057 days. If we were to extend this and say maybe add on a few hundred more days, let's zoom this out a little bit. And if we added on, say, a few hundred more days to that, I mean, the first one was a 400-day difference. The second was like 300. Let's say, it's somewhere in here. This is why I've said before, the earliest I could see would be the end of 2022. That would be the earliest, the end of 2022, but probably 2023 is kind of where I'm thinking. Something like that. And then that's if you measure it that way. And if you measure it, say, peak to peak, which is probably not as useful, but let's just measure it peak to peak. You have 127 days, followed by 127 weeks, followed by 213 weeks, If we go another 213 weeks, it would put us in January of 2022, but the trend suggests it's getting longer. So let's say 300 weeks. That puts us out in summer of 2023. And then finally, if you measure it bottom to bottom, you have 65 weeks, followed by 166 weeks, followed by 203 weeks or so. So you can see that's getting longer. So 65, 166, 203. Maybe the next one will be somewhere out here, at 250. I don't know. 260 something. I mean, this is late, could be late 2023, early 2024. This is why this is why we talk about it, right? It just seems like the cycles are lengthening, and no short-term bubble is going to immediately change my mind. It's just not, as much as you guys would want it to. I know a lot of you guys would rather me are hoping that I'm wrong, right? Let me know in the chat, right? Who here hopes that I'm wrong, right? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people hope that Bitcoin goes to 100 or to 288K next year, right? I mean, to some degree, I hope I'm wrong. Who doesn't want to see a $288,000 Bitcoin next year? But as I've said before, let's be a little bit more pragmatic and say, the data doesn't really suggest that's going to happen. If it does happen, then great, right? We'll all meet up on some private island somewhere, and we can talk about the time that Ben thought lengthening cycles were true. But if it doesn't happen, I just want people to be aware that if it doesn't happen, it does not mean the party's over. It does not mean we have to have an 80% correction in 2022. It just means that it's a slower cycle. That's what it would mean. Yeah, I mean, I understand the sample size is lacking, right? But we work with what we have. If we had a sample size of 100 and we could see that the cycles were lengthening every single cycle, then it wouldn't be an argument, right? It wouldn't be worth talking about. But it's because we don't have a lot of data that we have all these different models. We try to figure out, okay, which model makes the most sense, which one seems like this could be where things are headed. If it were just as simple as, we have 20 data points and each data point is either 4 years apart or lengthening, then it would be different, right? Of course, this would be different. Yeah, I mean, even if people with PayPal are blindly putting in money, it's only going to drive a local bubble so high. Um, by the way, guys, I know a lot of people say like hedge funds are buying up all the Bitcoin. I sincerely doubt that all these hedge funds are buying up Bitcoin at a 80% price appreciation from where it was 7 weeks ago. If you look at a textbook bubble, the institutional money comes in before the rapid move up, not not once it's already happened. And yeah, you could say like this isn't the move up we're talking about if they're anticipating 100K, but I just don't see that institutional money, in my opinion, would mostly like hedge funds and whatnot would mostly have been buying down here. Smart money, I would say, was down here. So you have the smart money, maybe you then have the institutional money, then you get the FOMO money, the FOMO run taking us all the way up here. But this, I don't think a lot of hedge funds are coming in and buying Bitcoin at 19K when it was at 10K a couple months ago. That's my opinion. I mean, maybe there's some hedge funds that are doing it, but I understand that institutions are holding for years. But I mean, still, I think that they probably try to be a little bit more strategic with coming into the market, and not buying into FOMO, no correction, no sideways movement hype. I've said before, we're gonna wake up. We're gonna wake up one morning at some point, and Bitcoin's gonna be down like 10-20%, and it's gonna shake everyone who's new to the market, right? It's gonna shake everyone who's new to the market. We'll see when that happens, but it hasn't happened yet. We'll see when it happens. Let's take a look at Ethereum. It's still holding on. It's still at 546. Please repeat the best fit formula again. I don't know what you mean. I mean, you can just rewind the video, right, if you need to hear something. What month did the 2017 peak come in? It was December. So if you look at historical peaks, the first one was in June. So the first one was in June 2011. This major one here was in November of 2013. If you want to count this one as one, this one was in April of 2013 or March and April of 2013. If you want to count that as a peak, and then this one was in December. So at the very least, we have these three major peaks that we had June, so May and June, June, that area, and then 2 December. So that's what we've had so far. Remember, if you're new here, to subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up if you guys like the content. And remember, we do have the premium list if you guys want to check it out. The Black Friday deal goes on for another week and a half. And I'll post that in the comments. You can also find it in the description below if you guys want access to that. You get the weekly reports, the weekly videos, the Telegram alerts, Telegram chat room, the risk dashboard, and the trading view indicators. It'll be interesting to keep an eye on Bitcoin here. And I'm actually curious how some of these other coins, so you can see XRP is going down a little. Link is... Yeah, sorry I mentioned XRP. Am I expecting alt season? I would say I would expect alt season as long as Bitcoin is well above the 20-week and not volatile. If Bitcoin starts moving down quickly or moving back up quickly, I would not expect alt season to go on for weeks, right? As I said before, we can always have a day where things pump, but at the end of the day, to see something take place over several weeks or months, you need Bitcoin volatility to calm down, and it just simply hasn't happened yet, right? I mean, and that's what we've said, right? I mean, the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation, someone asked earlier, like, why is it running this early? It hasn't gone anywhere. We're still at the bottom of the reaccumulation phase, right? It hasn't gone anywhere in the grand scheme, right? It hasn't gone anywhere. So let's keep an eye on it. 18.4. It looks like the live stream accomplished its goal yet again of killing the pump. So what other questions? Do you guys have any other questions? Hey, let's keep the stream going for a little bit longer. I'm doing you guys a favor because every time we come on stream, we get lower prices. I'm doing you guys a favor. We talk about the S&P 500 and Tesla in the premium group. That's about it for now. We'll talk more about others later, but that's mostly it. You know, it'd be interesting if someone, I don't have the time to do this right now, but if someone could actually go back and look at all my live streams and then look at the hourly percent drop during every single one, like it's probably on average like -1, -2%. Like every single time I do a live stream, it seems like the market's drop. Oh, hey, hold on. Bitcoin's at 18.4. Let's see. Is it going to hold the line here? Is it going down? Maybe it'd be better to switch it over to a shorter time frame so we can actually see what's going on. This was when I started the stream, by the way, right here. Yeah, SS it says it right. I mean, as well, like, Grayscale has been buying Bitcoin for a long time, right? Even in no, even in when Bitcoin dropped from 12K to 10K, Grayscale, I mean, they were still buying Bitcoin at that time, and it didn't stop Bitcoin price from dropping like 20%. Right? It didn't stop it then, so don't necessarily believe that this is the new normal. I mean, it's just at the end of the day. Bubbles will happen throughout the market cycle, right? It's just the name of the game. Let's see how Link's holding up still pretty much okay. XRP, I would expect, yeah, I mean, I would expect if Bitcoin drops, and I don't know if it will yet, we're still back around 18.4. If Bitcoin drops, I'm telling you, there's a good chance you can say bye to a lot of the gains that it recently saw, okay? This is what I've said before. I would not personally, I would not chase a pump with XRP, and I certainly don't have any interest in picking it up myself until Bitcoin is at least above its prior all-time high. Until then, I don't care about it. But I will congratulate those who watched it go 90% down for it to go up a few percent. So remember to subscribe to the channel if you guys like the content and give the video a thumbs up. We'll see if we hit 18.3. I mean, so Bitcoin dominance will whenever Bitcoin makes a run at 20K and actually gets above 20K, like the dominance will temporarily go up, most likely. Any other questions? Remember, I just want, if you're new to the market, remember that the chances that Bitcoin gets to a sustainable 20K in the short term are really low. It can go above 20K in the short term, but the chance it sustains it over the following weeks after are very low. So just consider that, and I think you'll be fine. Just go in it with a more level-headed approach, right? Yeah, I know you guys want me to jump off the live stream so the price can go back up, but I'd rather actually watch the price go down a little bit. because I if you guys follow the premium list, I sold some Bitcoin actually out to USD at at uh, at at like 18, close to 18.9. So I would prefer to see Bitcoin drop here. And if it does start dropping, I actually will get off the live stream. And by the way, we're not spooking any. I mean, 18.4 is still fine, right? Nothing's happened. Um, this is still not much of a move. If we see it going down to 17K, 16K, that is substantial, right? That would be substantial, and if it does, most coins will bleed against Bitcoin. But if it can hold support at like 16, 17K, then you still might see altcoins recover very quickly. Like they still could recover very quickly in that scenario because the 20 week is all the way down at like 12K. So just watch Bitcoin, right? All you really need to do is watch, see what Bitcoin's doing. Because now that Bitcoin is dropping a little bit, the rest of the market is going to sit and watch again, right? I mean, XRP is back down to is back down to 0.41, and I told you guys, right? I mean, how quickly these gains can disappear when Bitcoin is still below the prior all-time high and has a small correction, right? It can disappear really quickly. So remember, it's a risk if you want to take it on coins like XRP and Litecoin. If Bitcoin does hold this level and continue on up, then you probably timed the local bottom pretty well. If it doesn't, then you're probably going to look back and say, that one didn't work out, right? I mean, honestly, the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio is still holding up pretty well. Um, if you look at it on the daily time frame, here it is. I mean, it's dropped a little bit, but for the most part, it's still holding up fairly well. My end of year price prediction, I don't know what Bitcoin's going to be at the end of the year. I have no idea. Ethereum still at 540. Not too bad. Listen, where did it peak at? It peaked at around 562 or so locally. So I only slept like 4 hours last night, so I actually I made my kids dinner right before I did the live stream. The Bitcoin dominance, I mostly talk about Bitcoin dominance on the premium list, not on the public channel. It's actually not. I mean, I feel like Link is holding up pretty strong right now, which is actually pretty normal for it to do, right? If you know, this is Link's looking pretty good still against Bitcoin. No, I don't talk about Bitcoin Cash on the premium channel. Sorry. See, Andrew Todd, I've said it before, but maybe he's new to the stream and he figured it out himself, right? He said we're gonna keep on streaming like this to make sure the cycle's lengthen, right? One live stream at a time, we'll make sure the cycle's lengthen by coming on the live stream, making sure the markets cool off for a few hours. What altcoin besides Link or ADA would I invest in long term? Probably Polkadot. Yeah, someone said I should do live streams when the market goes down. Maybe the next time. See, the thing is like it just the market hasn't gone down recently. Like I do live streams when the market corrects. You guys saw me do a lot of live streams when we were correcting down to the 20-week moving average and saying hold the line back a couple months ago. But we haven't really corrected in 5 or 6 weeks. Like Bitcoin has just been going up, actually longer for like 7 or 8 weeks. It's mainly just been going up. So I mean, it's not that I don't want to cover dumps. It's just that we haven't had any in 8 weeks. What's the best thing that could happen right now to support lengthening cycle theory? I just don't. The thing is, right, is whenever and this happened in any time Bitcoin's pumped, right, in 2019 as well. Like whenever Bitcoin pumps, everyone says it's 4 years. Whenever it dumps, people get pessimistic and say it's going to fill some 4 hour CME gap at $3,500. Um, so I think that I really don't think that it needs there's any specific thing that it could do to convince people that that's what's happening in the short term, right? Even if Bitcoin were to drop to 14K, you could argue that it could still recover and go on, right, to six figures earlier than I think. So I think that what would be nice is just if we even if we do have some bubbles, if we just if we're not moving up to like 30K, 40K, 50K throughout like the first, 2 or 3 quarters of 2021, then clearly it's not a 4 year cycle, right? We're gonna know soon enough, and then we'll put the argument to bed, right? And we'll just say, all right, enough of that. We already it's either is or it isn't, and we'll know soon enough. Thomas Baker, he says, do you see any beautiful hidden math in the Bitcoin charts? You should go to my channel and type in Bitcoin, the beauty of mathematics, and I think you'll like that video. Remember to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up if you guys like the content. Make sure you subscribe. Let's get to 54,000 subscribers. I think we're at 53 right now. I mean, we don't have to keep the stream going forever. At some point, I'll call it so that the markets can rally again. Then later, when they're rallying, I can come back on live stream to make sure they stop. You know, if you think about it, I actually have good reason for you guys to turn alerts on. Like, you really should turn alerts on because you could consider it an indicator. You know, it's like your own YouTube indicator. Like, alerts on for bin live streams. If it comes on, oh, indicator. Market's probably going down. So with that in mind, you should turn your alerts on and click that bell icon. Yeah, I mean, you can stake 32 Ether if you want. That's probably the best reason that anyone's given you to turn the bell icon notification on, right? Incoming correction. Do I explain my regression method on the premium list? I mean, I explained it here. Will Ethereum flip Bitcoin? Probably not. Probably not in this market cycle, if I had to guess. How are the other alts doing? XRP is at 0.042, Ethereum's at 540, Link's still around 0.008. I've actually come down to this level a few times here. Maybe now would be a good time to go off stream and allow it to bounce back up. What do you guys think? You guys think that that's a good course of action here? Go off stream and let it bounce? Yeah, we'll do it as an experiment, right? Okay. Usually when I come on, the market dumps. Why don't we go off right now and see? You know, we'll see if going off right now is able to help hold this. Okay. So maybe we'll tune in. We'll tune in later. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. This one was a little bit shorter, only a little bit over an hour. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Remember, you can check out the premium list at and you can get the Black Friday discount. I just put the link in the chat, and it'll go on for a couple weeks, that promotion, so check it out. We also and it comes with like weekly reports, videos, indicators, alerts, that sort of stuff. We also do have the public Telegram channel. I'll put that in there as well. That'll wrap it up, guys, for the video. We'll see what happens. We'll see if we bounce here or not, and we will tune in later. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe so we don't miss a beat, and I'll see you next time. Bye.